Recognized at that time that the subject was wearing body armor. Due to the severity of the situation, multiple agencies responded to the scene. As our armored vehicle arrived on scene, the subject began shooting at the armored vehicle. Officers then returned fire at him again. The subject was later found in the dense wood line. Less than lethal rounds were used by officers to see if the subject would respond. Subject did not respond at that time. It was determined that he was deceased. It is unknown if it is a result of officers' actions or if he took his own life. This is an ongoing investigation. There are no injuries to officers. We did have one officer that sustained medical or had a medical situation. He was transported to the hospital. He currently is in stable condition. The original victim that was shot received non-life-threatening injuries. He is also in stable condition at the hospital. Multiple agencies responded to the situation. They do include Austin Police Department, Georgetown, Williamson County, Cedar Park, Department of Public Safety, the Texas Rangers, and ATF, and Leander Police Department. Several of those agencies are part of the Central Texas Regional SWAT Team, and they responded to assist our SWAT team. There are multiple scenes that we are currently investigating. Our crime scene is handling those crime scenes at this point. There were numerous shots fired by the deceased subject. We do not have an identity on him. That will hopefully come here shortly in the investigation. We don't have a motive of why he shot the original subject. Again, this is an ongoing investigation. We'll get you as much information as we possibly can through our investigation. At this time, I'll open up for any questions that you may have.
Do you know how the subject and the original person who was shot know each other?
We don't.
Was the original victim in a home at first and the suspect came into the home?
The original victim that was shot at the scene was actually outside of his residence when he was shot. He then entered his residence and called 911 to report that he had been shot.
Were there any other family members in the home?
I do not know that.
The officer injury or medical situation, was that heat related?
I am not at liberty to discuss his medical condition at this time. That officer is in stable condition at the hospital.
Moving forward, what happens now? Is someone investigating this? I know there's still, you're unsure if the subject died as a result of an officer firing or took his own life, but is there somebody, another agency that's investigating that right now and looking into use of force?
This situation will be treated as an officer-involved shooting by the Round Rock Police Department. We are working in conjunction with the Texas Ranger on this investigation. The district attorney has been notified as well, and we are also seeking advice from the district attorney. Additionally, the officers that did discharge their duty weapons will be placed on standard administrative leave as a result of today's actions.
How many officers is that?
We have multiple officers. Through the investigation, we will determine how many officers will be placed on leave, and that is currently ongoing right now.
And will it be the Travis County or Williamson County DA?
Williamson County District Attorney's Office. We are in Williamson County.
Thank you.
And so the suspect, he was dressed in a trench coat and then he changed into camouflage?
We got two reports. One that there was a subject that was in a trench coat that crossed 3406. We got a separate report that we had a subject that was dressed in camouflage. We will look into those descriptions to determine if he did have a trench coat, was he wearing camouflage. We do know that he was wearing body armor.
And a scary situation today. You know, what do you have to say about everything that your officers did to protect this community?
Thank you for that question. You know, this is Round Rock, and we are very proud of Round Rock, and we are always known as one of the safest cities in the United States. And when you have a situation like this, and I can't thank the officers enough for their heroism, and you always hear it, we go toward fire, not away from it. And the quick actions of these officers and other agencies that responded prevented potentially other victims due to this subject's actions. We don't know what his motives were. We don't know what his intent was. We don't know why he's shooting subjects in this area and then decides to go across the street and shoot at officers. But I can tell you the actions of these officers were absolutely heroic today, and I'm so proud of each and every one of the officers. I hate the fact that this happened. My heart goes out to the original victim, but the officers did a tremendous job taking care of the citizens of Round Rock this morning, or this afternoon.
Is the suspect confirmed to live in that neighborhood?
We do not have an ID on the suspect. We are working on that through this investigation. We're going to determine who he is, where he lives, and hopefully, if we can, a possible motive of why he took the actions he did today. Any other questions?
Was he identified through land or air, and who are the air agencies?
So the question was he identified? Could you kind of expand upon that?
Spotted. How much did the helicopters help in locating the suspect, and what were the two agencies flying overhead today?
So the aerial units that we used was drone, and we also used, I believe, Department of Public Safety's air support unit that was up in the air helping us. You got to remember, this was a very dense wooded area, so it's very hard to see from above. But can't thank all the agencies enough for them coming out and assisting us in this situation today.
How exactly did you guys find him? Did someone see him running into the woods and then followed after? Were you searching through the woods and then came across?
So what happened was he engaged the officers and started shooting on the officers as he retreated into the wood line. And so we had an idea of where he was. We did send officers that the area that he was in, we did surround it. So we knew he did not come out of the backside of that wooded area. And so we knew that he was hunkered down in that area. He came out several times firing at officers. When our armored vehicle arrived on scene, he engaged that armored vehicle as well.
Can the residents now come out of their homes, Chief? Can people go back into the neighborhood?
So we just did another reverse 911 advising everybody that they can, we are removing the shelter in place order, and people will be allowed to return back to the neighborhood. We believe that this was the sole subject involved in this incident, so we feel that the rest of the city is safe again as a result of this incident.
Is the polling location back open?
I cannot answer that question. I do not know.
Okay.
You guys had to go through this during like very hot heat and temperatures. We were just curious how you guys do all of this with all the gear and everything that you have to wear.
So the question is, it's very hot out here, heat, it's very humid, and you know, especially our tactical officers are wearing additional gear, additional body armor for protection. Even our patrol officers are wearing dark uniforms. This is the job that they do, and this is why I'm so proud to be their chief. And that's why I'm proud to be the chief here in Central Texas, because of all the agencies that step up. Our primary goal is to make sure that these cities are safe, all of our communities are safe. And so when it's time to go out and do work, they go out and do work regardless of the conditions. And today is a prime example of officers going out and do work. We had an opportunity to talk to a number of officers that were either on perimeter or were involved. And you can just see the amount of sweat, how tired they were, how exhausted they were. But their whole goal was to make sure that the citizens of Round Rock were safe, and they were going to continue until that was done.
And just to recap, to make sure we have all the details, the first person that was shot is in stable condition, correct? Non-life-threatening injuries. The officer, again, also stable condition in the hospital, and the suspect, no ID yet.
That is correct. Again, thank you all. I appreciate you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for all y'all do. Appreciate it. So go live right here.
He said he moved us